What if I told you that the confidence you have been chasing your entire life is nothing but an illusion? What if I told you that the polite smiles you practice in the mirror, the motivational affirmations you whisper to yourself at night, and the loud voice you force in public are not confidence at all? They are masks. They are camouflage. They are weak attempts to cover fear, insecurity, and self-doubt. The truth is far more brutal, far more raw, and far more dangerous. True confidence, the kind that bends reality, silences a room, and makes people listen without you saying a single word, does not come from fake smiles or repeated slogans. It comes from something darker, something deeper, something most people are too afraid to face. And if you have the courage to keep listening, you will see confidence in a way that will shake the very foundation of how you see yourself. From the very beginning of our lives, we are taught the wrong definition of confidence. Parents tell their children to smile and stand tall because it makes them look strong. Teachers reward the loud kid in the classroom because they assume volume equals bravery. Self-help gurus keep repeating the same empty advice. Tell yourself you are powerful. Tell yourself you are unbreakable, and somehow, magically, you will start to believe it. But you already know the truth. You have tried these tricks. You have forced the smile, straightened your back, stared into the mirror and whispered, "I am confident, I am fearless." And yet, the next time you had to face rejection, the next time you stood in front of a crowd, the next time you wanted to speak your truth, your voice shook, your palms sweated, your stomach tightened. Because the fear never left. The mask only covered it. This is the great lie of society. We are taught to perform confidence, not to build it. We are trained to look comfortable, not to be unshakable. We are told that if we just act the part long enough, eventually it will become real. But deep inside, you know this is not true. Acting confident does not make you confident in the same way that wearing a crown does not make you a king. The weight of the crown means nothing if you have not fought the battles that earn it. Think about the last time you had to put on an act. Maybe it was a job interview. Maybe it was when you tried to impress someone you admired. Maybe it was when you walked into a room full of strangers and told yourself to fake it till you make it. You smiled. You stood tall. You forced the words out of your mouth. But inside you were trembling, terrified of being exposed, terrified of rejection. That was not confidence. That was fear dressed up in a costume. The reason most people never develop true confidence is because they are addicted to comfort. They want confidence without struggle, strength without pain, courage without fear. But real confidence is forged in fire. It is born in the moments when you are humiliated, when you are rejected, when you are broken and alone, and yet you choose to rise again. Every scar on your soul, every wound on your pride, every dark night where you almost gave up, that is where confidence is created. Society will never tell you this because society profits from your weakness. They want you to buy books, courses, and empty affirmations. They want you to keep pretending, to keep searching for shortcuts. But there are no shortcuts. The only way to true confidence is through war with yourself. Through the nights you spend doubting your worth, through the failures that shatter your ego, through the rejection that burns like fire in your chest. Every time you face that pain and survive it, you become unshakable. True confidence is not loud. It does not need to shout. It does not need to prove itself. A truly confident person can walk into a room and say nothing, and yet every head will turn. Why? Because confidence is energy. It is the weight of someone who has suffered and survived. It is the aura of someone who has faced their own darkness and made peace with it. This is why the people who have gone through real struggle, the ones who have been rejected, betrayed, and broken, often carry a presence that others cannot explain. You look at them and you feel their power, even if they never raise their voice. Because they no longer fear rejection. They no longer fear failure. They have already faced it. They have already died, and been reborn in the fire of their own suffering. Meanwhile, the ones who only act confident, the ones who rely on fake smiles and loud voices, they collapse at the first sign of resistance. The moment someone challenges them, their mask falls off. Because masks cannot survive pressure, but scars can. Confidence is not about comfort. It is about discomfort. It is about putting yourself in situations that terrify you and refusing to run away. It is about speaking the truth even when your voice shakes. It is about walking into fear and discovering that it cannot destroy you. Every time you do this, you build a brick in the fortress of your confidence. And over time, that fortress becomes unbreakable. So the next time someone tells you to just be confident, remember this. Confidence is not something you switch on like a light. It is something you earn, and the price you pay is pain, rejection, and struggle. But once you have paid that price, no one can ever take it from you. Confidence is not built in the sunlight of comfort. It is forged in the storms that try to destroy you. Every person you admire, every leader, every thinker, every individual whose presence feels unshakable, carries a history of pain behind them. Look closely, and you will see the pattern. The man who speaks with calm authority is the man who once trembled in silence, but forced himself to speak again and again until the trembling stopped. The woman who walks with unshakable grace is the one who was judged, mocked, and rejected, but kept walking anyway. True confidence is not gifted, it is earned, and it is earned through wounds. This is why so many people remain trapped. They want the feeling of confidence without paying the cost. They want the glory without the scars. They chase hacks and tricks. They watch videos, they repeat mantras. They pretend to be confident for a few minutes and then wonder why it disappears the moment life tests them. They do not realize that confidence is not built in theory, it is built in battle. Until you step into the arena, until you put yourself in situations where you can lose, where you can fail, where you can be embarrassed, you will never know your strength. You cannot learn to swim by reading about water. You have to drown a little, swallow the salt, feel the waves crush you, and only then will you learn to float. The human mind is designed to protect you from pain. That is why your brain tells you to stay quiet when you want to speak, to sit back when you want to act, to avoid risk when you feel fear. But this same protection is also a prison. Because every time you obey that fear, you reinforce the belief that you are weak. Every time you avoid discomfort, you tell your subconscious that you cannot handle it. And over time, your subconscious starts to believe you. That belief becomes your reality. But here is the brutal truth. The subconscious mind can be reprogrammed, and the only language it understands is action. Not words, not affirmations, not empty declarations. Action. Every time you face fear and do the thing anyway, your subconscious records it as evidence. Every time you speak, even though your voice shakes. Every time you try, even though failure is possible. Every time you endure the pain of rejection, your subconscious quietly updates its definition of who you are. Slowly, silently, it begins to accept that you are stronger than you thought. This is how confidence grows. Not in the mirror, not in daydreams, but in reality. The paradox is that true confidence comes not from avoiding failure, but from failing so many times that failure no longer scares you. A man who has been rejected 100 times does not fear rejection anymore. A woman who has failed repeatedly does not tremble at the possibility of losing. They have already tasted it, survived it, and learned from it. They no longer build their self-worth on outcomes. Their confidence is rooted in something deeper, the knowledge that no matter what happens, they will not break. Think about it. Who is more confident, the student who studied for months and walks into an exam room with perfect preparation, or the one who has faced repeated failures, survived the shame, and still returns to try again? Both may look confident, but only the second carries unshakable confidence, because they know they can rise after falling. The first one still fears what will happen if they fail. The second one has already faced it. That is the difference. This is why the people who truly radiate confidence often seem mysterious. They are not always the loudest, they are not always the flashiest, but when they speak, people listen. When they move, people notice. Their presence carries weight. Because confidence is not about volume or appearance, it is about energy. And energy cannot be faked. You can sense when someone has lived through storms. You can feel when they have wrestled with fear and refused to bow. Their silence has more authority than someone else's shouting. So if you are waiting for the day when you will feel ready, stop waiting. You will never feel ready. Confidence does not arrive as a gift. It arrives as a result of stepping into the fire when you still feel fear. It is the courage to act before you feel prepared. That is the secret most people will never accept. Confidence is not comfort, it is confrontation. Confrontation with fear, with pain, with rejection, with the parts of yourself you try to hide. And when you face those demons enough times, something incredible happens. The fear does not disappear, but it loses its power over you. You still feel the heartbeat, the sweat, the doubt, but you act anyway. And that, right there, is confidence. Imagine a version of yourself who no longer hesitates to speak your truth. Imagine walking into a room without pretending, without forcing a smile, without performing. Imagine being able to look someone in the eye and not care whether they accept you or not, because you already accept yourself. That is where confidence leads you. It is not arrogance. It is not ego. It is a quiet power, a calm certainty that cannot be shaken. The world will tell you that confidence is about being fearless. That is a lie. Confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the mastery of fear. The fearless person does not exist. Fear will always be there. But the confident person has learned to carry fear on their back and keep moving anyway. So the next time you feel fear holding you back, remember this. That moment is the doorway. On the other side of that fear lies the confidence you are searching for. But you cannot walk around it. You cannot trick your way past it. You have to go through it. And every time you do, you leave a piece of your weakness behind. One day you will look back and realize something powerful. The rejection that once humiliated you made you stronger. The failure that once broke you built your resilience. The fear that once controlled you became your teacher, and the scars you carry became the proof of your strength. That is when you will understand that true confidence was never about pretending to be powerful. It was about surviving the moments that should have destroyed you and coming back even stronger. So stop chasing fake confidence. Stop hiding behind masks. Stop waiting for the world to validate you. Step into the fire. Face the pain, embrace the rejection, and build the kind of confidence that no one can take away from you. Because once you have faced the darkness inside yourself, no light outside can blind you again. That is true confidence.